the little mistake that's on here is that under education, under education is actually in a larger font than the rest of my resume. And it's the kind of stuff that people notice when they're looking at your resume. And so I always say, double check, triple check, send it to 2 or 3 of your friends and have them look at it. If you know a recruiter, have them look at it and say, could you just look at this and make sure this makes sense? And there's no glaring errors. And I'm telling you, the biggest thing that really ticks me off when I look at a resume and it looks jumbled, and I'm just thinking, if you can't use Word, I don't care what's on your resume. Let me see if there are any other things. I did also want to mention a tip that I was speaking with Sunny. Okay. We were speaking earlier, and she was saying that she wanted to get in touch with somebody on LinkedIn, and she sent them a LinkedIn request, and they hadn't responded. And so Megan said, well, send us a good one. And I said, yeah, you could do that, but not everyone checks their LinkedIn. You know, not everyone has it that it sends to their email automatically. Some people, they actually have to go in and look at their LinkedIn. You know, and people maybe once a month will do it. You know, or they go and they look at LinkedIn and they forget to check and see that they've actually got an inbox with stuff in there. So I told them, just pick up the phone and call. If you can see the person on LinkedIn, you can see where they work. So you can do a Google search and you can find the company where they work, you can find the main phone number, and if you call them after 7 o'clock, you can more than likely get their voicemail and leave them a message. And if you're trying to get a hold of an executive or somebody that you really want to talk to, chances are if you call them at 7 o'clock, they'll pick up the phone. Because they're not expecting a sales call at that time of the night. Their secretary has already gone. There's no receptionist picking up the phones. And so sometimes if you'll get lucky and you'll call, just be prepared for that. Because you'll be thinking, oh, voicemail, are you ready to leave a voicemail? And the person goes, hi, this is Mark. And you're like, oh. I wasn't expecting that. So do be prepared that a live person may actually answer, which is what you want anyway. But sometimes you do want to leave a voicemail because you need to get past the gatekeeper, but you want to leave them a message that says, you know, I'm really interested in speaking with you. This is what I've got going on. I'm going to send you an email, but I wanted to let you know in advance this is coming, and you know, whatever. But at least you know you've left them a message and you know they've heard it. Because most people don't have the receptionists listening to their voicemails for them. So there's one tip that I like to use too.
So that case, how you open up the conversations that, hey, you know, I'm so-and-so, and I met you 3 years ago, for example. And how you're going to engage the conversation, number one, if you have to leave a message, number two, if you start talking.
Okay. If you have to leave a message, you can say, you know, hi, this is Stacey, and I'm giving you a call because we're actually, you know, and I will sometimes use LinkedIn. So I always go and we're assuming, I guess, here that the person's on LinkedIn, which is how we found it. If they're not, that's a different conversation. Because I find that people who are not on LinkedIn are not as social and don't want to be contacted. So there's a whole different way to go about that. But if they're on LinkedIn, they put themselves out there and they assume someone's probably going to be contacting them. They usually think it would be by email, but hey. So I will sometimes say, hi, this is Stacey. I'm contacting you because we're actually linked on LinkedIn. And the reason I mention that is because I know the first thing they're going to do is look me up. And they're going to see, who is this person calling me? And you know you can check to see who's checked your LinkedIn profile, right? Mm-hmm. You all know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is.
So then the nice thing is you get to check later and go, did the person look me up? So you can see, did they listen to my voicemail and did they take the next step of looking me up? But then you know you're getting somewhere. But leave the voicemail and say, hi, this is Stacey, I'm giving you a call. We actually met a little while ago. If you remember when or where, it would help to say that. It was a long time ago. I won't say when, I'll just say where. Because chances are that person's been there quite a few times since, so they won't remember it was 2 years ago. So I'll just say, you know, we met at a, MBA International Mixer, and I'm giving you a call because I noticed that you now work at AT&T, and I am looking for some assistance. Would love to be able to meet with you and talk with you just to find out if you would be able to give me some guidance or advice on what kind of employee AT&T is looking for. Or it might be, I'm looking for guidance on creating a project for AT&T. That was something else that I wanted to talk to you about is unpaid work. We might just skip the whole volunteer route and just send in information to somebody who works at the company that you want to work for. So if you have a project, you want to, you want to find out, do some research and see what is this company experiencing, what are some of their difficulties, have they done any acquisitions lately, are they going to be experiencing layoffs, what's the culture. You can check Glassdoor for great insight on the company if they're listed there. And really just, and again, Google them. If you Google them and say, what are employees saying about X company, you'll be surprised at the stuff that comes up. Really gives you some insight into what's going on within the company. So if, whatever the challenge is and whatever it is that you are then trying to get to, so you mentioned digital media, you look and say, okay, here's this company that is just exploring the digital media stage. I'd like to show them some ways that I think they could do this really well, and I'm going to create a plan for that. And you send it to a marketing person, one of the marketing executives, and say, you know what, I would really love to work for your company. And I've discovered, but I, have been tracking the trends. I've noticed that your company is struggling in this area. And I've noticed that you've actually put out some proposals to some companies for that. I really think that I could assist with this. And to show you how much I can do within this area, here's a plan that I would love to be able to present to you. Can I send it to you to review and let me know what you think? Send it to them. Have them take a look at it. Of course, they're not going to hire you on the spot. Unless you're that fabulous, they might. If they're really looking, they might. But it's an opportunity for them to say, okay, you took initiative. You know what our company is. You really want to work here, and you've got some great skills. So now you have given all that information to this person by doing this work. And they may say, you know what, this is really good. We can't utilize it here, but I do know of another company that is looking like that. Or I'll keep you in mind if something comes up. And when people say that, a lot of times it's kind of a kiss off, but sometimes they really do mean it. It's just, if something comes up, I'll keep you in mind. It doesn't always come up. So, just because somebody says that doesn't mean they're trying to give you the kiss off. It just is that, sometimes, again, we talk about this windows of opportunity. Unfortunately, they just hired the person that is doing the exact project that you just sent them. And so them's the breaks, right? You go look for another company. But it just, I always say you've got to do outreach. Just sitting at home and sending online applications into the black hole is not going to get you the job. It will not, never has, not going to happen. I don't know anyone who has submitted an application online and got called for an interview and got the job. I really don't. I do know people who submitted their resume online and then called the company and spoke to an executive for who they wanted to work for and said, I just submitted an application online and I really want to work for you. And I'm sending you a copy of my resume, and I would really love it if you would take a look. I know people who've done that and gotten hired. I know people that have faxed in their resume to the department they want to work in and have said the same thing. Remember the old fax? We still use them. And it's one of those, it doesn't just send you the $99 Disney vacation anymore. Do you still get those? Or you check your fax machine in the morning and it's like, oh, come on. So, sometimes just doing something a little bit different. Always do the online application because I will never forget what Deb, what is her last name, said. She worked at NBC. I can't think of her last name right now, but she was in diversity in HR. And I don't know why I always forget her last name. Doesn't matter. But she said, at an HR event, she said, if you cannot go online and submit an application when we have told you that that is what we need you to do, we're not going to hire you, because it shows us from the beginning, you can't follow a simple instruction. And I always thought, oh wow, because for me, I'm such an outside of the box person, I never do online applications if I was looking for a job. I would always just go above that and find somebody and send my resume and fax it and email it and walk it in if I had to. And so when I heard her say that, I thought, ooh, if I sent my resume to NBC, she'd have tossed it. Because not that she didn't mind getting the resume, another form, but then she wants to go into the system and see that it's there, and it's not there. So do the online application, but don't just think that's going to get you a job, because it won't. You got to follow it up with some other kind of action.
I have a question just along that same line, because nowadays that is the way that you see a lot of job postings, and you see a job you want, you submit your materials online, and you see like the submill that says please no phone calls or all of that. So I'm just wondering, like, how do you
Right,
make
that's
that
HR. HR doesn't want your resume again. They just got it online, they don't want it again.
Okay.
The person that you need to get your resume to is the person, the hiring manager, who's probably going to be your boss. That's the person who you need to impress, because that's the person who, if they're moved enough, will look at your resume and go, okay, I wouldn't mind hiring this person. And then they will speak to HR and go, is this person in the system? And then HR will reach into the black hole and pull you out. Whereas before, nobody had the impetus to do that, so you're just sitting in there. And you're going to sit there until maybe one day the system kicks back an email that says, thank you very much for applying, this position has been filled, right? So it's not, you don't send it to HR. You want to send it to somebody that you know at the company who can maybe take it to HR and say, hey, I know this person, and they're not a serial killer, and they really could do the job. Or to an executive who would want to, review your resume, and you say in the cover letter to the executive, I've submitted my resume online. I really want to work for your company. You go through the spiel, but you let them know that yes, that's been done. I am following the path. However, I really want to work for you, and I really want to work in this company, in this department, and this is why. And let them know why. And I always tell people, if you can't immediately come up with 3 reasons why the company should hire you, I'm not going to do it for you. So if you can't come up with 3 reasons why we should hire you, why am I going to take the time to come up with the reasons? The reasons should be there in black and white. You need to hire me because, And that needs to be able to roll off your tongue. So if you meet somebody in an elevator, which has happened, I talk to everybody, anywhere, anytime. It's at the point where I go to the grocery store and my kids are going, can we just get through the grocery store once without you stopping to talk to somebody you know, or somebody who has a question, or, But I think that, I was in an elevator one day, and I always go, this is going into my networking talk, but I always go networking with a goal in mind. I know exactly what I want to get out of that networking event. And then once I've gotten that, I split. One time I went to a networking event, I got it done within the first 5 minutes. And I was like, well, I could go home, or I could stay and eat. I decided, I'm going to go home. I'm tired, my kids are waiting for me at home. And I left. But I didn't leave feeling, how many times do you leave a networking event and you feel like, God, this was a waste of time. I got out of my house, I drove all the way through traffic, and got here for this? Why? Why did I do this? I could have stayed home. There's plenty of times where I used to feel like that. I realized I don't want to do that anymore. So you need to go networking with a goal in mind. You need to know who you expect to meet. And if you don't find that person that you want to meet, then you need to find somebody who knows the person that you need to meet. And don't leave there until you do, because you'll find somebody. I mean, just in here, we sat and we talked to somebody who knows someone that you went to school with on the other side of the country. So you just never know. We're all, what is it, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Even us now with social media.
That's right.
They say it's like 3.2 or something.
Well, see, there you go. Right. So you never know who you're going to meet, but you have to not be afraid to speak to people. You have to have your little elevator pitch ready, and you just need to have a little fun with it. Because if you go feeling like, okay, I gotta get this over with so I can go home and get into my fuzzy slippers, you're not going to have any fun. you're not gonna meet your goal, and you're gonna leave feeling like you wasted your time. And so, like I said, I stepped into an elevator one day, we were leaving, it was raining, everybody was ready to go home, and I just happened to get into the elevator with somebody. I didn't have a business card, he didn't have a business card, but I overheard him talking to somebody else about the company he worked for. And I was like, oh, he's who I've been trying to find. And so we chatted, he didn't give me his card, but I took out my phone, put his phone number in, and I thought, you know, as I was leaving, there's the guy that I was trying to get to. But again, it's me being a little nosy, you know, inserted myself into the situation. You know, you gotta have a little bit of chutzpah if you want to get what you want. I mean, nobody is going to advocate for you. So if you're not going to be bothered to advocate for yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. So you gotta, you know, it's gotta be worth putting forth that effort to get what you want.
I'm sorry to slow you down, but only 5 minutes.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let me see if I had any other little tips in there. No, I think that's basically it. I did want to just talk a little bit more about this and say that, again, this is a great opportunity for you. And this is an example of a way that you can do this, but there are a lot of other organizations where there are similar programs and you can do something like this. But it's about getting in front of the people that could potentially hire you. And so with this program, really what they do is they go out and provide this little PowerPoint presentation, and it talks about heart-healthy diets and things like that. And you just go out and provide the presentation, you do it on behalf of the American Heart Association, and you go home, right? But in speaking to the company rep, it's usually going to be, you're going to start with probably somebody in HR, or somebody in benefits, or somebody in that arena. And so right there is somebody who has access to the black hole, right? So if you think about a company that you really want to work for, you know, this is a great way to get inside the company, to actually speak to the people, to actually meet some of the people that work there and find out, do I even really want to work here? Because how many times have you gotten that dream job and then it just turned out to be like the job from hell, and you're thinking, oh my God, I spent all this time pining over this job. I thought this was going to be the greatest thing ever, and it's so not. And I really kind of want my old job back. And I will tell you, I have done that. I actually moved for a job. I thought it would be the best job ever. I was so, so excited to go and work there. I mean, really excited. Because they make toys, and I had little kid at the time, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. I'm gonna love it. Hated it. I hated it, and they hated me, and it was just not a good match. And so that happens. I'm thinking, you know, if I had this and had the opportunity to get inside that company and talk to some of the people and really get a feel for what it was like to work here, I might have known that before I made that step. So, with that,
Thank you.
Thank you.